Ancient fossils suggest the Great Pyramid and the Sphinx of the Giza Plateau were once submerged under water. Apparently, the entire landscape of the Giza necropolis, including the pyramids and the Sphinx, display signs of erosion, and this has led researchers to suggest that certain areas of this mighty necropolis were once submerged under the sea, and a newly discovered fossil makes this theory look a lot more believable. So it's a pretty cool theory. Well, this is the story. Archaeologist Sharif El-Morsi, who's worked extensively on the Giza Plateau for over 2 decades, and his colleague Antoine Gigal, were the ones who made the discovery of this controversial fossil, and it backs up studies and theories that the pyramids of Giza and the mighty Sphinx were once submerged under the sea. Sharif El-Morsi and Antoine Gigal are the founders of Giza for Humanity, quote unquote. Dr. Robert M. Schuch was one of the first researchers to really address the theory that the structures of the plateau are much older than previously thought. In the early 90s, Dr. Schuch suggested that the Sphinx was thousands of years older than archaeologists believed, dating back to 5,000 to 9,000 BC. This suggestion was based on erosion patterns of water found at the monuments and the surrounding rocks. Archaeologist Sharif El-Morsi has been looking into the mystery ever since, and during one of the photo shoots documenting patterns of erosion of several megaliths in the area, he made an even more surprising discovery that suggests that the entire area was submerged at one moment. Maybe that's why all these sphinxes were, up until the beginning of the 20th century, 1920s, covered up to their neck. The Sphinx was covered up to its neck in sand. All this sand had to be removed from around the Sphinx. So how did all the sand get to be around the Sphinx up to its neck? Now, during one of the documentations of the ancient coastline, he said, "I almost tripped with a block of the second level of a temple." This is what Morsi said in an article published on the website Gigal Research. Kindly support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box. He said, "To my surprise, the bump on the top surface of the block that almost tripped me was in fact an exoskeleton of a fossil of what appeared to be an echinoid, that's a sea urchin, which are marine creatures that live in relatively shallow waters." Sharif El-Morsi suggested that the Giza Plateau was flooded once by a surge, and the temple sites of Menkaure in particular may have been a former lagoon when the sea level covered the necropolis, the Sphinx, and the complex of temples and other monuments of the area. But there are several other theories which different scientists have suggested. Some researchers believe that the echinoid found in the limestone was actually exposed by erosion, and the fossilized creature was part of the original limestone that had formed 30 million years ago. But Morsi responded to these claims in an interesting way. He suggested that the creature was cemented or petrified in a relatively recent time, citing evidence that the creature was found placed gravitationally on the floor, that the fossil was in almost perfect condition and was located within the intertidal range of the lagoon, which is a big contrast to the small fish typically found in limestone blocks. Sharif El-Morsi said, "We can clearly see the pristine condition in the details of the perforations of the exoskeleton. This means that the sea creature must have been petrified in recent times." And according to El-Morsi, the flooding was quite significant, peaking at about 75 meters above the current sea level. That's about 75 meters. That's almost 300 feet above current sea level. So you can imagine how high the water level was. And as he said, it created a coastline spanning to the Khafre enclosure near the Sphinx at the temple of Menkaure. And here we see part of the western wall of the Sphinx. You can see how eroded that thing is. So something obviously has eroded this, like water. Now, El Morsi also believes that there is evidence present at the monuments and surrounding blocks that suggest the presence of tidal waves in the past, and even suggests an intertidal zone of about 2 meters. That's about 6 or 7 feet. The Sphinx, the Temple of the Sphinx, and the first 20 fields of the Great Pyramid of Giza exhibit erosion due to deep water saturation, according to El Morsi. And dating the exact time of the flood is particularly difficult for researchers since, in the last 140,000 years, sea levels have fluctuated by over 120 meters. That's about 400 feet. Certainly, this is very interesting theory, and we look forward to finding out more about the possibility of the Giza Plateau being submerged underwater. This is from Ancient Code. It's on Humans Are Free. Please leave your comments. Thank you for your support.